The pricing always needs to be high enough that you actually make money in the end. Like that, I mean, that seems...
It doesn't always need to be. We get asked a lot about the thought process when choosing a price for a product or service.
How does that correlate with someone coming in at a $7 pricing and then you're trying to upsell them to $1,000?
It's so stupid. So if I'm targeting someone who spends $7, that's not the same person that's going to spend $5,000.
I want to make money from you on the back end because I've got something that you cannot pass up on the back end.
So why do people join country clubs?
Because people in them.
No, because the people who are not. It's very important to understand your numbers, but not only understand your numbers, understand how you should be looking at your numbers.
Are you really making money in the end?
Welcome to another episode of Special Ops. I'm Emma Rainville, your host, and today I'm still in London and I'm with Richard and Saka. We took a day during team building to film some episodes for you, and today we're super excited. We're going to do a quick podcast on pricing. We get asked a lot about pricing and how we pick pricing and what goes into the thought process when choosing a price for a product or service or event. So here we are today with Richard and Saka. I say it like that because he fixed his name, Joshua, because you spelt it Saka instead of Saka. Anyway, okay. Who wants to go first? Who wants to give their overall thoughts on pricing? I can if neither of you.
Sure. Yeah. The one thing I'm thinking of when it comes to pricing is the one thing that everyone does wrong, and it's such a basic thing. The pricing always needs to be high enough that you actually make money in the end. Like that, I mean, that seems...
It doesn't always need to be.
It doesn't always
need to be.
In the end, it does. Like,
in the end, we're talking about
does.
In the end, it does. You have to think through the entire thing.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like an incredibly basic point, but there are so many...
Well, we're not in the retail space. We're in the online space, and direct response and e-commerce is very different. And we can lose money on day one because we're going to make a ton of money on day 45 and over 6 months make even more money. And the acquisition of a customer is expensive, particularly on long-term products. So I just want to explain that when you're saying that. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. Over the term of 6 months, you should make a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a question of, are you actually doing that? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't quite have the numbers to understand. Okay, where is the money going, as you were saying yesterday? A lot of people will price based on gut feeling, more or less. Like, it's, okay, this seems like it should cost
I have $50. Money in the bank.
Yeah, so it sounds good.
The issue is that the CRMs, none of them have good data on, none of them have good data on day one value, AOV, CLTV over 6 months, affiliate, including affiliate payouts with what comes in from email from that same traffic source, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it really comes down to where does the money go, and either essentially your pricing needs to reflect the money that you want to make in the end of the day. Like, it doesn't have to be this immediate. Okay, we need to charge them exactly what it's costing us plus the fee that we want to make on each customer.
Right.
But you do need to be factoring in what are you spending. Like, are you going to be spending $100 per customer just to bring them through the door? And will you make $100 back from them in the long run? Or will you make $200 from 75% of your audience? That's also a great way to be. But if you're making that $200 from 40% of your audience and the rest of them, you're making maybe $60, are you really making money in the end? It's really a question of getting those numbers locked in and understanding where you need to set your pricing in that sense.
Right. Saka?
Yeah, so for me, I think one of the things that I see a lot that people are not doing in terms of pricing is the value stack behind the pricing. What I mean is...
So good, yeah.
They're not creating enough reason, right? It doesn't matter what amount you set, right? You can set as much price, but they're always going to have a customer for whatever price point you set. But the key thing
that's, as Perry Belcher would say, that's a writer downer right there. You're always going to have, say that again.
You're always going to have a customer regardless of the price point you set.
That is so good. That is so good. Go ahead.
And so what the mechanism behind selling that price is the way you stack the value, the way you use the sales page, the sales letter, whatever you do to sell it, you need to be able to create enough value that it's a no-brainer. And regardless of, like I said, doesn't matter what price you end up choosing, as long as people see that value, people are going to take out a credit card and they're going to purchase. So a value stack is it's becoming back. I think previously it used to be very popular.
It was very popular.
On your checkout page, you have that. Hey, this is the value.
Here's the bonuses you're getting. Here's the fast acting bonus. People aren't doing it anymore.
Yeah. I've seen that happen less and less now, and I think that's something that it's a big mistake.
Well, the market is being flooded due to COVID, right? Like a lot of people are moving to online because at the height of COVID, I want to say, please don't come at me in the comments if my statistics are wrong. I'm doing it off memory, but I believe that at the height of COVID, or at the beginning of COVID, it was like $313 billion. And at the height of COVID, it hit like $370 billion. And so people flooded the market because they couldn't work in an office anymore. And they were losing money or whatever. And so they just don't understand. They haven't studied the psychology of pricing and value adds. And that's so true. So important.
Yeah. So that's, for me, that's one of the major things. And then also, like you said, just as you said earlier, we're always going to make money down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're thinking about pricing on the front end, you need to also be
thinking about that down the line.
Pricing down the line. Are you putting an order bump in there? Are you putting an upsell, downsell? Whatever it is you're going with, how does that correlate with someone coming in at a $7 pricing, and then you're trying to upsell them to a $1,000?
It's so stupid.
So you need to be able to create that correlation behind your...
Right.
Because
your core product has to fit the demographic for your upsell. And if I'm trying to sell, and I hate that you just said that, because we actually met with a potential client that has a $7 product to a $5,000, but it's very to a $5,000. Yeah. It's very true. If I want you to come into my world, my order bumps need to correlate with the outcome that I want. Yeah. And so if I'm targeting someone who spends $7, that's not the same person that's going to spend $5,000. It's just, it could be, but that's probably not the next thing you want to give. Yep. So if, let's say it's a $7 info product, the next thing should be
something 47
to 97, somewhere in there. Yep. And then the next thing, because, that's a really great point. I love that.
Yeah. So those are the things, and of course, on the long run, because there's always going to be, once they're in your world, you need to make sure you're creating more value and more products for them to, continuously buy from you, and also price that according to that initial price point that you have. Because again, no matter what, if they're coming at a $7 pricing on the front end, chances of them being able to spend as much as you want is not necessarily there. So just keeping track of your initial entry point for a customer, if you want to segment that on your back end, so you know that people in this bucket are most likely not going to spend more than this certain amount of money. So like you said, a lot of our CRMs don't have that enough information. It would have been good to be able to set up a campaign where I'm sending $1,000 offer to someone that has overall average order value of that particular segment is above $100, and then I'm able to send them a $1,000 offer. Just around how you choose the price based on how much the person is able to spend is really important.
That's so good. So the next thing I want to kind of dive into, both of your perspectives are really great. The next thing I want to dive into is setting the dollar amount. And so we know that if you put $50, 49 or 47 is always, and I mean always, going to be $50. Always, by magnitudes. Richard, you do a lot of split testing. Why do you think that is?
It's really a case of perceived value. To go for an offline example, the standard here has always been 99 pence or 99 cents.
It's retail.
In retail, yeah. Because, that single cent, single penny makes all the psychological difference. I think it's basically the same factor on a slightly different level. Because, as you know, money that you spend online is not money that you spend from your hands. You're not giving someone the money. You're typing in your card details and you're pressing a button. The reason that we see the difference between the 47 and then the 49.99, which we have in a retail context, for instance, is because the fact it's such an odd number, the 7, which you don't see in any kind of retail context anywhere, it just gives them that.
Well, you see it in Costco.
In Costco, okay. Well, that's it's a membership thing here.
3479.
Really?
Yeah, and I got so excited because I thought there was going to be new I'm such a dork. I thought there was going to be some like new philosophy on the whole thing. And really it's just about when the products come into the store, whether the product's new or whether it's like it's on sale, whether it's not going to be reordered for a while, or whether it's its last time to be in the store.
SKU tracking.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was so excited though.
Yeah.
I mean, like, again, just to go back to the retail versus the fact that 7 is maybe not that odd a number, but still not something that you see every
Right,
day.
you don't see that. You're absolutely right. You don't see that very often.
It kind of has that shock effect in the way that the 99 cents is meant to and no longer does.
And no longer. Yeah, I don't remember the last time I tested 47 and 49 and 49 one.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, there's still a slight shock factor to it. I think probably that will expire past a certain point. Maybe at some point 46 will be your.
I don't know. It's been 379 for a very long time. 379, 19, 21, 27, 37, 39, 47, 49. I can keep going on, but it's been those have been the price points for a very, very long time. I think that there's something in us psychologically, but I do think you might be right. Is as we more and more get away from retail shopping, and it's not just the U.S., it's everywhere. As people get away from shopping in stores more and more, it may have that same effect. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see.
On my side, it's something weird I'm going to share about how when I see $47.
I'm so excited. Every time he says I'm going to share something.
No, it's something weird. The way I think about it is, so back home, the way money is spent is like in Nigeria or in Mauritius. The way I think of money is $20, $25, $50. It's usually like a round number. And so if you're telling me something is $47 for me, it just feels like I'm saving $3. Because in my pocket, it's like $50. Like everything is rounded up. It's just something that people do. It's like,
so it's only one bill instead of three.
Like one bill. And then it's just like I'm just getting $3 back in my pocket. It's just something, and I know a lot of people that are like that. Interestingly, like I thought it was
I don't think that's a Nigerian prince. I think that
universal
thought philosophy, because if you think about the way American dollars and pounds, I believe, are both the same. It's like 5, 10, 20, 50, 100.
Yeah.
Well,
we don't have 100. That's the only difference.
Well, that's. I was going to say something terrible, but I wasn't. I don't want the comments, man. The comments that Saka's going to have to go delete.
I am curious about how the pricing works in countries where we have a very, very different dollar system, like Japan, for instance, like where you have the yen. It's
yeah, I don't know how to even talk about that. So
it's just something to throw out.
Yeah, that's something we might want to study at some point. Yo, we interrupt this pod to tell you to like and subscribe. What are you doing? Why haven't you liked? Why haven't you subscribed? Just subscribe. What's the problem? In all seriousness, subscribe so that you get notifications every time we drop new content. Additionally, if you have not signed up for our Visionary Vault, what the hell? www.specialopspodcast.com. Go sign up. It's free. We never try and sell you, and we're putting all kinds of stuff in there to help you with the operations of your business because we're passionate about it and we want to share operational excellence with our direct response e-commerce and online selling family. All right, when we're looking at, I just want to go back over this again because when we're looking at most of the funnels or shopping sites in e-commerce and direct response for online sellers, most of the time what we're going to see is a product that the ad spend or the affiliate payment is almost as much, sometimes more. We've seen it more. We've seen a $49 cost $60 per conversion because the CLTV over 6 months on that $60 was 27, 22?
Something to that effect.
I think it was like $2,722, right? Over 6 months. So why on earth wouldn't I spend $60 to get that? But that 2722 had a lot of factors. It was the upsells, it was the continuity, it was the retargeting, and then it was the affiliate sales. So many people don't look at that. And I remember when I first came into the industry and I started learning about things, at first I was like, we don't count that because that's what I had been taught. And then I was sitting in my office one day like, why wouldn't we count that? Could you imagine if I cut a traffic source that wasn't bringing me in a ton of money, but that traffic source was bringing me a ton of money on my products, but they bring me a ton of money on affiliate products? And that happens sometimes. We've seen that happen where I think it was Taboola was not really converting on our retargeting or our upsells. But when we put our affiliate offers to those people, they bought all of it. I don't know why they didn't like our product, but they were our demographic. Just the product. Obviously, our messaging was off and the product wasn't for them, but they really liked our affiliate offers. And we made tons of money off them. We almost killed it. I think it was you that found it because we did the traffic source spreadsheet. And he was like, no, we're actually losing $4 over 6 months on this side, but we're making 2,000 or 3,000, whatever it is on this side. So this is definitely a keeper. So it's very, like you were saying earlier, it's very important to understand your numbers, but not only understand your numbers, understand how you should be looking at your numbers. Yeah. So how much did they buy on day one? What's our average order value on day one? How much do they buy on retargeting them other products that we have? How much do they spend on continuity over 6 months? And you should look at these numbers over 6 months. How much did they, and per traffic source, not per product. That's so important. You could do amazing on Facebook, amazing on Instagram, terrible on LinkedIn, terrible on X, and then you're bucketing them together when you could have just killed 2 traffic sources and made a ton of money. So day one, average order value, what all of your retargeting of your own products is over the course of 6 months, what they are spending in continuity with you over the course of 6 months, and then all of the money that's being brought in from affiliate offers on that traffic source as well. And you look at that as a whole for that customer. And then perhaps if I'm only spending $49 or $50 for acquisition of that customer, maybe I can bump it up to $60. Or maybe I need to bring that down or bring the product price up because I haven't priced it properly. But you won't truly understand what you can spend on that product, what you have, how well you've priced that product unless you do that. So thank you for bringing that up. I just wanted to kind of pull that together for everybody. I'd like to talk about, you were talking about value stacks. I think that that's so important. And you've created a ton of value stacks. I've created a ton of value stacks. So I'd like to talk about that for a moment. And and I'll start with Saka and move to Richard. What is your bar? So if a product is X dollars, do you want to value the value stack at a certain multiple of X? Is it perceived on what they get from a deliverable? How do you look at that?
For me, it depends on what you're selling. So it just depends on the type of product that it is. So if it's we do a lot of challenges recently, and for the challenge, I think the value stack would be the amount of value you're getting. We do a lot of 3-day challenge at the moment, and essentially what I would do in my own case, how I look at this is you're paying $97 and you're getting times 3 of that, because each day, at the end of each day, you're getting $97 worth of information on day 1, day 2, day 3, each day, and then I've divided it by 3 by the amount of days. So for a challenge, for example, just as an example of how I would stack the value, like day 1, $97 value, day 2, $97, day 3, $97. All of that you're paying for. It's like you're paying just 1 day to get into the door 3 days in a row. So it's something like that is how I think about it. So you can use that same.
Can I challenge you on that?
Yeah, sure.
I'm glad you brought this one up because we've talked about physical products and you have that one spot on, but I'm going to ask you to look at something differently.
Okay.
Our challenges that we do are multiple demographics. We do multiple of them, right? But I want you to think about the average person that's on the call, whether it be the skincare line that we're working with, or it be the visionary entrepreneur that we're doing challenges with, or the high earning business owner that we're doing challenges for. You're telling me that I'm getting a $97 value for how many hours of my time in a day?
The challenge is maybe 3-4 hours,
And how much do I earn in a day?
Yeah, a whole lot more than that for each of those hours.
So I don't necessarily need to earn money on the money.
Okay.
I need to earn money on the money and the time.
The time.
And so when you're looking at a challenge, I would challenge you to think about the demographic, where they live monetarily. Yeah. How much do they make? And then I would triple, because you're tripling it, and that's right.
Yeah.
But I would triple that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
And so if they're not going to walk away with something that is worth that dollar amount, then you shouldn't be selling that thing to them.
Yeah.
Or you need to look at your value stack. So I'll give you an example of that. If you've got me on a challenge, let's say, I'm Emma Rainville. I'm the owner of Shockwave Solutions. I run an agency, right?
Yep.
Model.
Yep.
Where we're providing services, and I'm going to go to a challenge or to a workshop that is going to teach me how to make AI autonomous agents. Your messaging to me on value should be, you're going to save $100,000 a year for the next 5 to 10 plus years or indefinitely, because I'm going to teach you how to replace a bunch of the manual labor that you're currently paying for.
Right.
And now you can take your current people and grow your business, and you'll be able to do 10 times the clients. So in my mind, you know what we charge for our clients.
Yeah.
In my mind, I just made a lot of money every month. Way more than the $97 challenge.
Okay.
So that's how I would challenge you to that. I didn't mean this to be a lesson, but that's how I challenge you to that, because yes, you're right. I need to get the value of my dollar back, but I need to get all that I've spent.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Cool.
I agree.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways to do it. One of the things, I'm going to talk about a slightly different way that we've been doing it occasionally, because I think this is something that's quite interesting to me, where the value stack is not, it's not a case of trying to project, okay, this is how much the course is worth. Like we say very upfront, you are underpaying for this. Like I have something on the back end that you're going to want to see. This is for targeting business owners, people who run their own funnels, people who have built value stacks. So
But this could be done. This could be done
Sure,
for anything.
sure.
This could be done in skincare.
Sure,
Right?
but
you're not really gonna get much out of this $47. It's gonna unlock the next thing that's gonna get rid of the scars on your face.
that's not quite the thing, because it's
Okay.
the approach is more like, okay, I am taking a huge loss on this front end, and I could tell you, well, I'm going to throw in all these thousands of dollars worth of training, but I am going to be teaching you a lot. But the reason I am basically giving this away is because I want to make an offer to you, and I want to make sure you are the right kind of person. It's
Same thing.
kind
Yeah.
of, just a slightly different way of going about it, where the
But
that
my point is
time-
that could work with anything. It doesn't
Sure.
have to work necessarily with that. It can work with just about anything.
Sure. I mean, it's a question of making.
You're buying into a club,
Yes.
and you're buying exclusivity. So why do people join country clubs?
Because people in them. That's,
No, because the people who are not.
Well, there we are. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's about exclusivity
Yeah.
and creating that. But anyway, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but I mean, it kind of turns the part of the assumed value. I mean, just going back to the example of their time becomes part of the value stack.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It goes from being like, oh, you're going to spend this amount of time to, I am giving you this time from
Right.
my side.
Yep.
But just going back to a more traditional value stack, I like to have two halvings basically. Like, so here's the price that we have. Here's what I would charge you in most cases. So that's half of the value, which everyone knows. You can buy one, get one free. People do that pretty regularly. But I've targeted you specially, and I don't really care about making money from you on this front end. I want to make money from you on the back end because I've got something that you cannot pass up on the back end. And then you half the price again. So it's a quarter of the overall value stack. Give it's a $100 product you're selling, you're coming up with $400 worth of value. That's not particularly hard. That's just a sample. But you half that for the standard price, you half that again for what you're actually paying, and give them a reason why they're only paying that. Because the reason I think value stacks fell out of popularity is because people do not believe in them, and they're generally right not to believe in them. Like a lot of the time you'll see someone with a PDF that they're saying, oh, this is a $900 value, and well, it's not. It's clearly not worth more than the 5 minutes you took to put that together. So it's just a question of making it actually meaningful. Like, you can't just say this is the value. You have to actually give a reason for it to have that value.
One of the things that I really like to do when we're creating the value stacks is, number one, it's about the outcome of the product. That has to be the focal point. I think that gets lost a lot. That has to be the focal point. For compliance purposes, you can't just make up prices. If it's never sold for $2,000, you can't say that it's worth $2,000. A lot of people do that. But you have to reasonably have sold it for a period of time to say that it's worth that. That's for Ryan Poteet, so he doesn't message me. But for those of us who don't care about that little fine,
And who do that?
There's a couple of things that you can do. So the first one is really give the value in the deliverable of what they're going to get. What you're going to get is so beyond what you're paying for it. Additionally, I like two types of bonuses. A bonus just to be a bonus just because bonuses are bonuses are bonuses. Those don't have to be overly amazing. I think that, creating an ebook that goes with a supplement, if you've got a weight loss supplement, do an ebook on how to lose weight. If you've got a thermal gun that you're selling for massage stretches that could help your back. If you've got a course for a visionary entrepreneur, an ebook on how to assess your numbers.
Yeah.
Regardless of what that is, it's just a simple thing that doesn't have to be overly done. And the second thing I like to have is a fast acting bonus. And it has to be something very tangible. And I really, even on info products, and I know a lot of people are going to cringe on this, I want it to be something that they can have in their hand. But they can only get it today. And they can really only get it today. That's actually a very important component to this. They can really only get it today. Yeah, let's write an ebook on this. Can we do this?
Yep, sure.
Is that cool? So Richard, Saka, and I, as a bonus, will write an ebook on pricing. And let's make it pricing and value stacks.
Yep.
And we'll kind of get together because we all have different ends of this. As you saw, we all have different ends of the spectrum. And Saka, although we kind of challenge each other a little bit on the challenge, he's created some really amazing ones, and how he thinks through on products is really great. So I want to share that with you all. So if you head over to our Visionary Vault, www.specialopspodcast.com, sign up for our Visionary Vault if you haven't. If you have, just go log in and find our pricing and value stack guide, we'll call it. And so thank you so much, guys.
You're
This is our
welcome.
last
Likewise.
one. So thank you so much for joining me, Special Ops, and hopefully, you guys will be able to do this with me again and again in the future, because this has been absolutely wonderful.